go ahead and have a sit down. Thank you very much. Thank you. Welcome to the Penniless One Show. My name is Jesse W. Benson, but my friends call me Jay Benz. Let's get it in. And I want to talk about it. I want to get into, what's happening to our youth today because they're very sensitive and, bullies are bullying people and our kids are committing suicide and we're trying to figure out why. And I think I figured it out. I know why. It's because they soft as hell. They're too sensitive. We keep giving them soft ass stories. Back when I was growing up, we didn't have that soft ass story shit. We grew up on some strong stories. You think about all the stories we had, they were all about murder and bad things happening and they were children's stories for crying out loud. That's what they gave us. Kindergarten, first grade. Think about the stories. Think about the stories that we had. Like Red Riding Hood and the wolf ate her grandma. That's murder. The wolf ate her grandma. Then put on her clothes. That's an imposter. Right? That's a thief. And that wolf is waiting for Little Red Riding Hood to come home. He's gonna kill Little Red Riding Hood. These are the stories that they was giving us in school as children. The real stories, not no soft shit, right? Think about it. The Three Little Pigs. Come on, now the Three Little Pigs was some bullshit. The wolf is gonna come in there and blow their house down. And I'm from the projects. I grew up poor, so we already knew, what the third pig was gonna survive. Why? They can't break down no project brick. The big bad wolf gonna blow your house in full of straw and hay. Hell yeah, he gonna blow it in. That's some weak ass shit. But them project bricks, they want us to stay in them projects. That project brick was heavy. You can't blow that in. Big bad wolf can't blow down no brick. Yeah, you remember that? You used to even remember in school, we used to have tornado drills. You from the projects? If you lived in houses, they used to tell you. During a tornado, where you gonna go? You go to the basement, right? We used to raise our hand. I was like, Miss Johnson, we ain't got no basement. I'm in the projects. They're like, well, just go somewhere and sit down. Okay. But if a tornado came through, you never even knew. We was in the projects, we never even knew because of that project brick was too strong, right? It used to tear up all kind of houses. White people houses used to get tear up in the tornado all the time. They tearing up their trailer homes and all kind of stuff. But you live in them projects, tornado just go right on through. You wouldn't even know. The only time you knew a storm was happening in the projects when your grandma used to get on your ass. Right? We used to be making all that noise, a thunderstorm. That thunder used to crack. Boom. Your grandma used to be like, sit down and shut the fuck up. God is talking. You like, I don't know if God wants you to be telling us to shut the fuck up. He's going to be quiet though, but I don't think God like that. We had some real tough stories back in the day. 3 Billy Gross Gruff, there was a troll under the bridge. We killed that troll. Huh? Remember that? Jack and the Beanstalk. Jack went up there to steal. We was rooting for Jack. Steal that egg. Steal that golden egg. Kill that giant. We had the real stories that made us tough. So we're not sensitive. You could say something to us, we wouldn't go and kill ourselves. Nowadays it's too soft. The thing that they're hearing now is too soft. The stories are too weak. They don't even got the right type of toys today. Right? What do we have? We had He-Man and Transformers, and we had G.I. Joe. What these dudes got today? Pokemon and Lil Bill. What the hell is going on? What are they playing with? Fidget spinners. What the fuck is a fidget spinner? I'm playing with G.I. Joe. These dudes is playing with Let It Rip. Huh? What are you gonna do? We used to get out there by the power of Grayskull. I got the power. What these dudes talking about? Some let it snow. Let it snow? Let it snow? The hell is going on? This is the reason why we're giving our youth too much soft ass shit and they're going out here and getting killed. We had the Predator. They got Pokemon. What are we talking about? You gonna put some money on, we gonna bet on the Predator or Pokemon? Come on now. You feed them too much soft shit. Don't feed my kids no soft shit. You feed them this soft ass shit. You know how we do? We talk about the real stuff that happened in real life. These ain't jokes. This is for real. This is what happened to me. I'm getting to share it with you. So I'm going to talk about the story that was told to me when I was young. If you have not heard of the 5 Chinese brothers, it's because you grew up sheltered. If you ain't heard about it, you ain't grow up poor. You didn't grow up in a poor neighborhood, because all of us heard of the 5 Chinese brothers, right? And this is the thing I like about white people, because white people, black people, we're the same, but there's some differences, because white people just do whatever they want. They just put out anything and sell it. and it's okay to do, you know. And it wrote a story about the 5 Chinese brothers, and it was some bullshit, but they sold it. But that's what they was giving us as children. You hear me? And so I'm gonna tell you about the story and what happened to me when I was in 1st grade. So the teacher, Miss Johnson, she was reading us the 5 Chinese brothers, and the story starts off like this. The first Chinese brother could hold the whole ocean in his mouth. He could swallow the whole ocean in his mouth and hold it. And what he was he's a breadwinner. He'd bring home the bread. His family was eating off of this because he would swallow the whole ocean, hold the ocean in his mouth. He would pick up exotic fish from the ground, okay? And he would sell it at market for some great prices. People would pay a lot of money for it because he would pick up some jewels. He would pick up some fish they ain't never seen. And that's how his family was making money. Okay. Lo and behold, somebody else wanted to come with him one day. He brought a little boy to go fishing with him. He swallowed the whole ocean and hold it in his mouth. And while Miss Johnson is reading this story, she seen him holding all that water in his mouth. She was like, ooh. She was like, she said it under her breath though. She was like, what that mouth can do. And I was like, I kind of heard. I said, what's that, Miss Johnson? She's like, nothing. But she was like, Miss Johnson was a freak. Okay. The boy now is out there picking up exotic fish and picking up some of the treasures on the ground. But the Chinese brother can only hold the water in his mouth for so long. So he's signaling for the boy to come on back in because he can barely hold this water in his mouth any longer. And he's telling him, come on back, hard-headed ass boy. And that's some of the moral of the story. Hard-headed ass out there still picking up the fish and he ignored the warnings. And the Chinese brother was waving him back in. He don't come back in. And so the Chinese brother had to spit the water back out. He spit the ocean back out, drowned the little boy. This is a children's book, I said. They read it to us in the 1st grade. He drowned the little boy. The little boy drowned and he killed him. Okay? And when the village found out, they had to put him on trial and they charged that Chinese brother with murder. But he had 4 other twin brothers. And that's what makes the story great. He had 4 other twin brothers. They all had special skill. And so when he was on trial, they said, hey, you done murdered this little boy. We're going to have to give you the death penalty. The death penalty? This is a children's book, and they're talking about the death penalty, okay? That's what we grew up on, that hard-ass shit. So now he's about to have to die, okay? And he begged the judge, say, let me go home and tell my mother goodbye. And tomorrow you're gonna kill me. They said, yeah, we're gonna kill you, we're gonna put you to death, we're gonna chop your head off tomorrow. So they sent him home to talk to his mom. So he went home to talk to his mom, but he switched places with his other brother. The second Chinese brother had an iron neck ass, hard ass neck. That means he ain't gonna be able to get killed. So the second Chinese brother went back, they tried and they chop, can't chop his head off. So he stayed alive. Okay? And so they say, hey, we don't know what to do. We tried to chop your head off. So we're going to kill you again tomorrow. And what we're going to do tomorrow, we're going to try to drown you. Okay? And so the second Chinese brother said, hey, let me go tell my mom goodbye. They sent him home. He went and switched out with the third Chinese brother. The third Chinese brother's legs could stretch real far. So he go back the next day, the third one with the stretched legs, they throw this guy in the ocean. He keep on stretching his legs. He keep getting taller and taller. The water can't drown him. So they there all day. He don't die. So they like, well, we can't chop your head off. That didn't work. We tried to now drown you. That don't work. We're going to kill you again tomorrow. I say, hey, what we going to do tomorrow, we're going to smother your ass. So, Chinese brother say, okay. Let me go home, tell my mom goodbye. He go home, he switches place with the 4th Chinese brother. The 4th Chinese brother that they're going to smother him. This brother can hold his breath for a long period of time. Okay? And so this is the story that they're giving us. This is crazy, right? But they're reading it to us. It's a great story. So he goes back the next day. They put him in the oven and fill it with whipped cream. Miss Johnson reading the story. She's like, ooh, whipped cream. I said, what's that, Miss Johnson? She's like, nothing. I was like, okay. So, hey, they fill that oven with whipped cream, put him in there all day. He come back out smiling, breathing. They couldn't smother him. So they don't know what to do. They say, hey, we gonna try this one more time. We're going to kill you tomorrow. And what we're going to do, we're going to burn you at the stake. We're going to put you on the fire and roast you. We're going to burn you. He said, let me go home and talk to my mom. He went home. He got with the 5th Chinese brother. The 5th Chinese brother can't be burned. So the 5th Chinese brother come back. They put him on the stake. He's burning up. Okay? But he's burning all day. Nothing happens to him. Skin don't burn. He's just fine. Sitting up there smiling, giggling, hee hee hee. They burning him up at the stake. He's okay. You know, we read this story. We root for the 5 Chinese brothers. We root for them. Yeah, go, go, go. Okay. So finally, they just give up. They say, hey, we tried to chop your head off. That didn't work. We tried to drown you. That didn't work. Okay, we tried to smother you. That didn't work. We tried to burn you. That didn't work. They say, hey, you must be innocent. We're not going to try anymore. You're free to go. And that's how the story ended. Okay? And we loved it. Great story. The 5 Chinese brothers. So I was so inspired by the story that Miss Johnson told. I said, hey, Miss Johnson, I want to get up and tell you a story too. Just like the Chinese brothers. I want to tell the whole class. She's like, okay, Jesse, come on up here and tell the story. I said, I would tell a story too. Just like the 5 Chinese brothers. I said, I want to talk about one black brother though. His name is Leroy. That's my Uncle Leroy. She's like, oh, okay. You talk about Uncle? I said, yeah. And Uncle Leroy was a crackhead. And I want to tell this story. She's like, oh, I'm not sure. I was like, no, let me tell my story, Miss Johnson. You told about the 5 Chinese brothers. I want to talk about the one black brother, Uncle Leroy. Uncle Leroy's a crackhead, and he's kind of like the 5 Chinese brothers. She's like, okay, tell the story. I said, well, Uncle Leroy, since he was a crackhead, he could do special things. He'd do it all the time. She said, so Miss Johnson was like, well, what do you mean special things? I said, man, Leroy would do anything for $5. Because he a crackhead, and crackheads need to get that money, and he'll do it. She said, well, what would he do? I said, well, you can ask him anything. He'll just do it for entertainment, but he'll pull it off. He'll pull off some impossible shit. She said, like what? I said, one time we bet Uncle Leroy that he couldn't dance on one toe. Not one foot, Miss Johnson. One toe. For 5 minutes. She said, what happened? I said, Leroy got that money, man. He was dancing on one toe. Like a ballerina. I'd never seen nothing like that before. Leroy made that money. I said, my Uncle Leroy was great. Just like the 5 Chinese brothers. I said, he even do plenty of things, even when we go to the store. She said, what? I said, yeah. He'd take me to the store with him all the time. My Uncle Leroy was off the chain. She said, what would he do? I said, we would go into the store, we walk around, we would never buy anything. She said, oh yeah? I said, yeah. I said, but then when we come out to the store, Uncle Leroy would have stuff. When we come out to the car, Uncle Leroy would have stuff that we didn't pay for. She said, oh, I don't know if you're supposed to tell us. I said, no, I'm going to tell you what Uncle Leroy would do. I said, one time he came out the store, we got to the car, I thought everything was cool, and Uncle Leroy, he pulled a PlayStation out of his front pocket. I said, Uncle Leroy, I said, how'd you get a PlayStation in your front pocket? He said, physics, boy. It's physics. I said, okay. But that's the type of stuff that he would do. It got to the point where Uncle Leroy was, he was stealing all the time across the neighborhood. Nobody would let him come over. Mom, why won't you let Uncle Leroy come over? She said, because he comes in and steals all the time. I said, well, he at the door right now. He said he got to use the bathroom. I said, Mom, we could just let Uncle Leroy use the bathroom, can't we? She said, you watch him. You make sure you walk him from the door to the bathroom and from the bathroom to the door and nowhere else. And if you do that, you promise we can let him come in. I said, Mama, I promise. I opened up the door. It was summertime. I opened up the door. Uncle Leroy had on a winter coat. I said, Uncle Leroy, what you got that coat on for? It's summertime. He said, because sometimes even though it's hot, I be cold, boy. I said, okay. I said, my mom said I got to walk you to the bathroom and back because sometimes you steal. He was like, yeah, y'all can go and walk me through there. So I swear, I walked Uncle Leroy to the bathroom and I stayed there. He was in there for a while. I said, Uncle Leroy, you ready? He didn't come out for a while. I said, Uncle Leroy, my mom started to ask if you left yet. After a while, and then he came out. And he came out and I walked into the door. He was gone. Everything was fine. 2 hours later, my mom walked into the bathroom. She started screaming, ah! I ran in. I said, Mama, what's going on? She said, we don't have a toilet. I said, what? She said, was Uncle Leroy in there? I said, yeah. She said, he stole our toilet. I said, no, he couldn't have did it, Mama. I didn't see no toilet. He didn't have no toilet in his hand. I said, wait. It must be them physics. The physics, boy. The physics. Yeah? So, Uncle Leroy, I didn't get to see him for a long time after that. But one time, I was outside, and Uncle Leroy was out there, and I said, hey, Uncle Leroy. He said, hey, boy. I said, They said, hey, what's going on? I ain't seen you for a while. He said, yeah. He said, I'm thinking of a plan. I said, oh, okay. He said, you want to think of a plan with me? I'm thinking of a plan to make some money. I said, absolutely, Uncle Leroy, I'll do that. So he said, he said, what can we do? I said, well, we can sell lemonade. He said, nah, I've done that. I've been there, done it. We ain't gonna sell lemonade. That's too, we need think bigger. He said, think bigger, boy. I said, okay, I'm trying to think of something. He said, wait, I got it. I said, what is it, Uncle Leroy? He said, we gonna make a concoction. I said, a concoction? I said, what's a concoction? He said, it's how you solve problems. And I turned around, I started scratching my head. I said, man, I turned around and said, what's a concoction? I turned back around, hey, Uncle Leroy was gone. I didn't even hear him. He's like a black Batman. You know, he just was there one moment, gone, and next I'm like, where's Uncle Leroy? But I was like, well, he's gonna make a concoction. I went to school the next day. I thought I was doing something. Teacher gave us a math test. She said, it's the test, and it had questions like this. If Sally had 2 apples and Susan comes over, how many apples would Sally have to give to Susan for both of them to have an apple? I don't even know. It's crazy. So you know what I said? I said, oh, this is like Uncle Leroy said, concoction. I got an F on that test. And I went home. Uncle Leroy was sitting on my porch. I said, Uncle Leroy, I said, I got an F on my test. He said, why? I said, because for every answer I put concoction. He said, don't worry about that. He said, I figured it out. I said, what you figure out? He said, I know how we going to make some money. I said, how we going to do that? He said, I done made a concoction. I said, what? He said, I've been going to everybody's house. And this is what Uncle Leroy did. He done went to everybody's house and he done stole from under their kitchen sink. He was taking chemicals. He took some bleach from this house. He took some alcohol from this house. He took some other shit from the other house. And he started mixing them all in a bottle. He said, this is what I know. He said, this is what we're going to do. I have made a chemical to kill roaches. I said, oh. I said, that's, Uncle Leroy, I said, that's good. I said, because we got a lot of roaches. He said, yeah. He said, this concoction right here is going to kill the roaches. He said, I'm going to be an exterminator. I said, okay. And you know what? It actually went well. Uncle Leroy started going to different people's houses, you know, in the projects, and he was spraying that concoction everywhere. And when he sprayed, now, this is the thing about roaches. You can't really kill roaches. Nothing works, okay? But Uncle Leroy had made a concoction. This chemical was strong. Like, you couldn't even be in the house when he did it. And so people would let him do their apartment, and they would stand outside. Leroy would spray that concoction, and it would draw the roaches out. And when the roaches would come out, they wouldn't die, but then they were out there, so Leroy would just step on them all. He would just stomp on them, and then he really did kill a lot of roaches. And then when he would leave, he would just take a little things with him. He wasn't stealing too bad. He would like take an ashtray or something. It wasn't his shit, but you know, that's how he would do. And so people was, you know, letting him in, but they started finding stuff missing. One time he took a lamp with him. I told him he put a lamp in his front pocket. He looked at me, I seen the counter, I said, Uncle Leroy, he said, it's physics, boy, it's physics. But the people started not liking Uncle Leroy in their house, but he was making a good, he was still doing good, you know. They was losing some stuff, but they was also getting roaches killed, so, yeah, you know, they let it go. But then I said, Uncle Leroy, some of the people don't want you in their house because they know you're going to steal something. He said, I got to figure that out. And he said, let's think about it. And I said, I don't know what to do. And he said, I know what to do. And then I told him, here's what you should do, Uncle Leroy. You should start selling the people bottles of your concoction. And he said, you know what, that's right. I said, but you got to make it look like a real bottle for something important. He said, okay. He took me to the store again. We went to the store. We walked around. He didn't really get anything. We walked out. When we got back to the car, he pulled a Polaroid camera out of his front pocket. I said, Uncle Leroy, how'd you get that camera? He said, it's physics, boy. It's physics. I said, okay. But he brought, what you get a Polaroid camera for, Uncle Leroy? And then he turned around. He took a selfie. This was, my Uncle Leroy should be famous right now. He was the first person to do a selfie. He took the Polaroid picture, snapped it of himself. He took 15 pictures of himself, and he taped it on the bottle. Leroy spray it, and the roaches come out. That's what he put on there. I was like, okay. You know, and people went for it. Leroy started selling it. He had all these bottles of Leroy spray. He started selling it across the neighborhood. He was selling 10, 12, 15 bottles. The stuff was selling out. Leroy, my Uncle Leroy made a business. He was very successful, you know. But then herein lies the rub. My Uncle Leroy was so successful that the white people outside of town heard about it. And they didn't want Uncle Leroy's product to override their product. They didn't really have a good product or anything, so Uncle Leroy had a product that they wanted. And this is how it really goes down all the time. Send in another crackhead named Melvin. We didn't really know Melvin like that, but he was a crackhead. And here's the thing about crackheads. Crackheads work alone because there's no loyalty in crackheadism. There's no loyalty in crackheadism, so they can't work together. But Melvin met Leroy, and they set him up, and Melvin was going to work with Leroy with the Leroy spray. However, Melvin's a rookie at it. And so my Uncle Leroy knew that Melvin was a rookie. He tried to tell Melvin what to do. Melvin wouldn't do what my uncle told him. My Uncle Leroy told him he needed to wear a mask. Melvin went in the house without a mask. And when he went in there and sprayed, he messed it up, sprayed the concoction in his mouth, and he died. And the only reason my Uncle Leroy got caught, because my Uncle Leroy is like, you know, he's going to make the best out of a situation that he can. So what'd he do? He took Melvin's shoes. He should have left him, that's pretty dirty right there. But my Uncle Leroy, before he left, Melvin's dead, he took his shoes. And the only reason Uncle Leroy got caught is because he tried to sell Melvin's shoes to an undercover cop. And once they found out, they blamed Uncle Leroy for Melvin's death. And they pinned him with murder. And my teacher, while I'm telling this story, Miss Johnson's like, I said, don't worry about Miss Johnson, just like the 5 Chinese brothers though. They charged my Uncle Leroy with murder. Then they said they're going to give him the death penalty. But my Uncle Leroy is strong. She said, Miss Johnson said, well, how so? I said, because the first thing they wanted to charge him with, they gave him the murder, and then they say he's going to get the electric chair. And my Uncle Leroy smiled when they gave him the electric chair. He smiled. I said, what you smiling for, Uncle Leroy? They going to fry you. He said, I'll be okay. So they put him in the electric chair. My Uncle Leroy is crazy. So as soon as they put him in there, he was like, turn it up. He said, turn down for what? Turn it all the way up. So they turned it all the way up. And they pulled that hand on that electric chair, and it's supposed to shock him. He was supposed to be all shocked like that. And he didn't move. He just sat there and took it and smiled. And I didn't know what was going on, but he told me later on why it didn't hurt him. It's because my Uncle Leroy had been stealing copper and wires from homes for years. He was getting shocked all the time. After being shocked for 20 years, he said he was immune to electricity. He was going to be okay. So they couldn't kill him with the electric chair. So the next day they told him, hey, we're still charged with murder. We're still going to give you the death penalty. We're going to kill you with poison. Oh, my. He said poison? So they took him in there the next day. My Uncle Leroy wasn't scared at all. He was like, poison. Poison. I was like, Uncle Leroy, what are you doing? Hey, as soon as they about to do it, he said, pump it up. I said, okay, Uncle Leroy. So they put the poison in him. He didn't die. I talked to him later that day. I said, Uncle Leroy, how did you make it? He said, the reason why I made it is because he said, I've been washing my hands in the Leroy spray every day. He said, I'm immune to that poison. I said, oh, that makes sense. So the next day they said, come on back, Leroy, we're going to do this one more time. They're going to give him the gas. They're going to put him in the gas chamber. I said, oh man, Uncle Leroy, you're in trouble. They can put you in the gas chamber. But my Uncle Leroy just sitting there smiling. He was okay. He said, go and put me in the gas chamber. They filled that building up with gas. They put all that gas in that room. My Uncle Leroy was like, from the windows, you can fill that gas up to the wall. He said, till the sweat come off my balls. I said, oh, Then Mr. Judge was like, I don't think you can say that. I said, I didn't say it. Uncle Leroy said it. How'd you make it from the gas chamber? Why did it bother you? He said, because, boy. He said, I be spraying the Leroy spray. I don't never wear a mask. I breathe that in all the time. He said, I was going to be okay. And so after that, the judge said, you know what? We tried to kill you with the electric chair. We tried to kill you with the poison. We tried to even gas you, and nothing happened. So we're gonna let you go. You must be innocent, so you're free to go. And my uncle Leroy was free to go, but they still fucked with my Uncle Leroy. And Miss Johnson was saying, well, how was that? Leroy was going to be free. And I was happy about that. But by the time my Uncle Leroy got out of prison, there was only one thing. They couldn't kill him. But when he got out, they had taken his idea and put it on the market. So he couldn't do the Leroy spray because they put it out. And when we go to the store, I see his spray all the time. It's called Raid. See? And that's how my Uncle Leroy became a roach. Because he's just like a roach. You can't kill him, but they'll step on you a little bit.